So first thing on the agenda, your guys' thoughts on testnet last week? Anything that the DAO can help out with?
Yeah, so the problems have been slowing down as we're getting more of them done, and we're getting down the last few that aren't difficult to diagnose. What's it called?
Right.
Problems that pop up every once in a while and are difficult to figure out. Though I have been kind of directly going in there because I'm not getting as much engagement from the DAO members as I'd hoped. So I've been spending a lot of time just directly engaging with everyone. What was that? Oh, and there's Anthony.
Nate, I appreciate it. You just getting in there because you know it better. You can answer the questions that are a little bit more challenging. So,
yeah, the only problem with that is when I'm doing that and trying to figure it out, I end up neglecting my other responsibilities. So it'd be nice if I could have a little bit more support on that end. So then I could get working a little bit faster on the beta roadmap stuff and implementing some of the features for the next release.
So
Make
how
Rush
exactly?
SBU in there, but sorry.
How exactly has that been working? I thought you guys, I thought the DAO kind of was filtering up like a consolidated report to insulate you guys a little bit. Or is that how it's already working?
You may
The bug reports.
I think Rush has been doing a lot of those. I think he just dropped off and came back. So
yeah, I must have hit something. Yeah, we were trying to figure out the best way like 2-3 weeks ago of capturing all these reports, bugs, and suggestions. Then the devs came back and said, like, we've got this system that works for us. And Nate came through, was like, ping me and, like filter it first. If it is an issue, ping me, and then he'll add it to GitHub and the appropriate documentation. And then, yeah, you just kind of got more involved. It's easy to go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I didn't want to ping you on stuff that you were already engaged with.
Yeah, fair enough. I guess it's like a chicken or the egg thing because I was getting engaged because I wasn't getting pinged.
So I have a list of items I think it's a good time to bring up. And this is more directed towards you, Nate. Sorry, Deviator. Is he here?
No, he's gone.
Okay, I'm pretty sure he's on
this week. Yeah, correct. He'll be off there next week.
So to give some preface, I reached out to a few people who have the test kit and got some feedback from them. Also, Rake, Rooster, and I went through and did a full series of like tests and tasks, and just we kind of looked at it from the perspective of someone who doesn't know what Phonon is, and specifically getting to like feedback for the testnet. One of the biggest things that we discovered and that I got in feedback from others is that it's very difficult to give feedback because a lot of the issues just happen and there's not any way to give a bug report. So there's no error to go by. There's no like system for us to be able to really give valuable feedback besides saying my card keeps disconnecting from the server, or I keep entering my PIN and it logs in and then logs out automatically. I send a phone on and it just never leaves my wallet, or I send a phone on and it never reappears.
The ones that are reproducible, where you can guarantee the fix, we've already fixed. We fixed the when you log into your card, it immediately refreshes and logs you out. We fixed that this morning. We put in the fix this morning, fixed it a couple of days ago. But the thing is, when it's something that happens every once in a while, just randomly, you have to include a timestamp with the bug report and the reward address. And we mentioned this 2 weeks ago that every bug report needs to have a timestamp and a reward address. That way we can go in, look at the logs, determine what happened before and during that to cause that to happen, and then we can diagnose it. If we can't reproduce the error, we have no chance at fixing it. And we said that 2 weeks ago, and we haven't gotten any timestamps.
So I think we both get that. I think that we're on the same page with that.
I guess, is there a way to put into like the app that pops up on the screen, like fields for this? Like, is there something that can be done at that level to kind of make the process easier for everybody, so that it's something that we do as part of the thing instead of having to kind of take us out of the stream of working with the product and then file this report? Like, could it be integrated?
So, and to kind of further that, how difficult, if at all, would it be to include a live feed of logs on the right-hand side of the client so that we can screen cap, we can accurately tell you exactly what the error was and what we were doing?
That would be surprisingly annoying.
To have logs on the side?
Yes. The way it fits together, having logs on the other side of the UI window would be a hassle.
Is there any way to get an error code?
What we can do is we can...
Like, I mean, and I'm not in any way, shape, or form a programmer on your level, but something as simple as when this happens, print line error code, you know, or just a system of like what options or pathways it's taking in the code, so we can better
we
address
have the
like
logs of what's happening and what causes the errors. They are sent to our server. We can look at them, and they all have timestamps on them. But if you encounter an issue at 1:05 p.m. and you report it at 5:15 p.m., I'm not going to go look through 6 hours of logs to see that an issue happened. Just need to know when the issue occurred.
How do we meet people halfway then? Because this is, you're saying in 2 weeks' time with testing, you haven't gotten any timestamps, and people are saying they want to send this, but it seems a little tricky. I mean, is it something as simple as having something in the UI that like you press a button and it immediately gives you a timestamp corresponding to the log to help them like build a report for you?
I mean,
let
that
me
would
go.
work.
Let me go a step further with that. When Rooster Rake and I were doing testing, and I did testing with some other people as well, we would have issues literally every 5 seconds. So I could literally just say, look at the last hour, there's 100 bugs in there.
That'd be great. Tell me what hour that is.
Okay.
If you would like that, we can definitely do that. I do feel that for many people who aren't core members of Phonon, that maybe having a little direction, such as even a text field that says, hey, here's what we're looking for, here's how to report a bug, here's a link to the Discord, even something like that. Because there is a lot of confusion on their end.
How about this? We can add a button to the front end that when you have the front end with all your phonons and everything and all the things. How about we have another panel on the side that just says, if you've encountered an error, click this button. You click the button, it'll say, what's the description of your error? Type it in, and then that'll send it to our logs, and that'll be it.
Yes, that would be so.
That would be perfect.
Okay,
and
we'll
just
do
to
that.
make sure you don't just want to know the description of the error, you'd like to know what we're trying to do at the time of the error.
Yeah, just describe what happened. It'll say describe what happened, put it in here, and then what I can do is make it so that sends it to the logs. And then as we parse through the log files, we can look at those errors. Maybe we give you back a unique ID that you can then post in the Discord if you really want to complain.
That would be great because there's no way to reference any of that currently.
Okay, then.
For the there should probably be like an example of a really good bug report, underneath it, just so that people know what kind of format you're looking for.
So
right, sounds good.
we've established that in the bug channel. Tuesdays came up with a template. We tried to keep that channel as clean as possible, removing all the chatter, but it got buried. But we have a simple, like, what OS you on, what browser, user. We're going to add the timestamp and the rewards address possibly. But yeah, so we have like a basic template. It just got buried
I think the bug happened with the unique identifier would be amazing. I think that would solve 90% of my issues currently with reporting a bug.
Okay, Anthony, you hear this? Anthony, you there?
Yes, I do, but I was muted.
Okay, sorry, I was signing you up for extra work because I'm not good at front end. Hope you don't mind. There's a /logs thing that will print out whatever you send to it as a like a whatever the log format is in that framework that you're using or that we're using for the front end. There's a /logs endpoint. Just send all of that information to that /logs endpoint. It'll make its way to the logging server, and then we can parse it from there.
Yep.
And just to give you feedback on your prior point that you're not getting enough feedback or bugs, I will make it a personal mission, and I think many other people here would agree. Once that happens, you're going to get a lot of bugs from me
Perfect.
and from us.
Good.
So we will inundate you. There's a few quality of life things that I think would be nice. So if you don't mind if I list a few of those.
Go ahead.
One of the issues we have is our card keeps disconnecting many times when sending a transaction. Is there a way we can make the background change color instead of it just being the icon so it's like obvious? Because many times like we would send a transaction, didn't work, we'd send a second one and go, oh wait, my card's disconnected. To the server, to be clear. Like a way to make that more visible.
Yeah, we can do that. Sorry, I'm trying to. I'm thinking if I want to sign Anthony up for this much more work.
Well, it could be just as simple as
dig in a
changing the
little bit.
color of the background.
Yeah, fair enough.
In addition, and this, I don't know if this is out of the scope, but having a whitelist for favorite people would be really, really helpful. Even if it's just a text field we can save, very similar to like titling our card.
So that is something that opens up a rabbit hole. The same thing that is blocking us from holding phonons that we have that we want off the card, but do not wish to redeem back to the chain yet. A whitelist for those, and what was the other one?
Knowing if the other
issue.
person is connected would also be nice too. Before trying to send a transaction.
The other person being connected, that's a unique one because I want to preserve the privacy. So it's kind of expected that you figure that out of band, and then do that. We could expose the endpoint that says who's connected, but then it opens up to griefing where you send somebody a whole bunch of shitcoin phonons and fill up their card with useless stuff, and then they can't transact without redeeming a whole bunch of shitcoin phonons. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I would say there might be an easy way to. There are other things you could add on top of that, but I would say for the intensive purpose of testing, it would be nice if even the user has the ability to say, let others know I'm online, kind of like Discord has the green light, the away light, that kind of deal. Not a big deal, but just whitelist would be much more helpful than that, where we could even just insert a text field of our own and label it, and then we can copy it. It has a little clipboard copy icon. Would be super, super nice.
I see that. The thing about it is that requires storing this data locally on your machine. All of the data so far is gotten from, it's either stored on the card or it just happens ephemerally in the browser, or it's stored in MetaMask. We'd have to come up with our own storage solution, which is going to happen eventually, but there's going to be a fair amount of deciding exactly where that storage goes, what format, how we handle it, how we verify it. It makes it more complicated.
Okay, fair enough.
You know what I'm saying? It's not that I don't want to do it. It's not going to be super easy.
Even if it was a text field that wasn't stored, where I could just save it for that session, would be nice as well. But it's not a big deal. Not a big deal.
Super. I'm gonna, in the general chat, I'm gonna drop a link to the user suggested improvements for UI. It's just a running list. If you want to add as many of these as you want,
I can do that. Yeah, send me a link to it, and I'll post these afterwards and at Nate.
No, oh, sorry.
Nate and Dan have access to it. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, my opinion on the thing is like everything that makes it harder to use is a big issue. So I appreciate you bringing it up and mentioning it.
Yeah, it's just a lot of copying and pasting, and then going out of the client to copy and paste. For single screen users, you're closing and opening the client more than you're actually doing the testing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, another big thing would be to be able to kill the phone-on application from the client itself, rather than having to go to Task Manager, search for it, and then kill it.
What OS are you on?
Windows, and many times when I go down to the taskbar and go quit, it does not quit out.
That's really annoying.
So I would love a hard kill in the in the client. Or even a reboot would be cool if that would make sense. But a hard kill would be nice because, again, in and out of the client more than we're actually doing the testing. I'm gonna put.
I just love that in behind those sunglasses, Nate's clenching his fist over Windows because this is developers with Linux experience bumping up against the OSs that plebs like me use on the regular.
Well, here's the problem.
Hang in there, Nate.
Mac OS is the easiest thing to develop for because everyone's running Mac OS and Mac OS works. Linux, there's 500 zillion versions of Linux and they all work a little differently. So I can make everything work instantly on my Linux, but on your Linux, I have no idea what's going on. And then Windows is just broken at every step on everyone's computer in a totally unique way.
Another thing that we made a note of for many users, and this would be myself included, it's very difficult to understand if we are completing the tasks or have any confidence that we're completing the tasks. Would it be possible to have a checklist for that in the application?
There is a endpoint being written being finished up right now by Douglas, aka Light. That I need to review, make a couple of final changes to, and then it will probably be on the register.phonon.network site where you just type in, where it just links to your MetaMask, sends off your Ethereum address, and then it tells you which ones you've done it, that you've achieved, checking the logs each time live. And you do it so it works, and it'll be updated instantly.
At a minimum, could we get a hyperlink to that in the client? So we could just go, I wonder how my tasks are. Click, okay, I'm there. Finding things like that's very difficult for a lot of people who are not phone on.
Yeah, I suppose.
Also, another thing we brought up, would it be possible to redeem to the connected wallet rather than copying and pasting your wallet address? So right now, when you want to redeem your phone-ons, you have to copy your wallet address and then paste that in the redeem box. Is it easy? So I mean, is that low priority, but would it be possible to just redeem it to the connected wallet?
I mean, yeah, that's fairly simple, straightforward.
We want that to be able to do both, right? Redeem to the current one and pick another one.
Yeah, I was going to say. I think it's cool that you can redeem to another.
So you have the box redeem to pasted address, or a box below it that just, or a button below it that says redeem to connected MetaMask address. Yeah, that's no problem.
All right, and I'll run through 4 bugs that we. Sorry. One last thing. Is it? And this doesn't need to be you, but this is a question maybe to anyone else here. Would it be easy for us to have a person or a way for people to get a faucet for a lot of these test coins? Currently, a lot of the test networks require you to go through like a tweet that then you paste the tweet and then it like gives you the test coins. There's been some issue with getting those easily. Any way we can make it easy for people to just get 0.1 Rinkby, 0.1 Coven, 0.1 Gurley or Gorley, that kind of stuff.
They can go on the chat and ask for someone to send them a phone on of it.
Okay.
Long answer. That's going to be difficult. It's going to have to be me, Douglas, or Anthony right now to do it, and I don't think either of us want to write that, and it's going to take too long. It's going to be a big hassle.
Better way to phrase that question. Is there anyone in here that would be willing to do that?
Create our own faucet?
No. Be the point man of, hey, so-and-so just started up their test kit. They need some test ETH.
Tell them to go to Alchemy. You don't have to tweet. You only get half an ETH a day, but
are you able to do that on multiple networks or just one?
Correct. I think there's 4.
Alchemy has like 5.
If you don't mind, would you mind sending me that link and I'll put that in the notes?
Yeah, I'll find.
All right. And not to distract, but I just want to go through a few bugs that we noticed. If now's not a good time, let me know. Okay.
Next on the list is the open tickets anyway. So.
Yep. The biggest issue we had was it disconnecting from server during a transaction. this is probably 9 out of 10 times. And this was both on Mac as well as on Windows.
Yeah, that's going to be a timestamp thing. It's just going to be depending on a bunch of things.
Another one was we cannot receive when sending. We noticed that was an issue. So
that
if two people are crossing the streams, okay.
I mean, that's not. That's the problem is the card can only do one operation at a time, and if you try to send and receive at the same time, and wires get crossed, we can do a better job of locking that out and making it clear that you're not allowed to do that.
Even a queue, would that make sense?
A queue sort of makes sense, but a queue makes sense, but it requires a lot more coordination. And
how does each side know each other's queue at that point?
Yeah.
Well, you could say if receiving, wait, asynchronous wait to send, All right. Third thing we had, and this is a regular issue, a significant portion of our assets were coming in as nPhonon, not as ETH.
Are you doing this with cards or with mock cards?
Cards.
Okay, because I solved the problem with mock cards. I could not replicate it with regular cards. I'll need timestamps.
Question with that, are you testing and trying to duplicate this on your machine you're developing on, or is this on a separate machine that has no contact with that?
I am trying to duplicate this on all sorts of machines.
Okay. I can definitely get you timestamps for that in the future.
Okay.
And that's it that I have.
Okay.
Thank you.
So since we jumped in the review open tickets rush Tuesdays, did you guys have anything else on this or?
No. I'm glad the telemetry key got added. I think it's just that constant refresh thing, which it sounds like it's going to be fixed today. So
that's been fixed. Yeah, it's. I didn't get an email that the build failed, so it should be built and ready to go right now.
Nothing else from me.
So outside of the 4 tickets that Super just gave, how many open tickets are there now? Do we know?
Whose open tickets? Because our internal one, we have like 100. Yeah, we have like 100, but half of them are improvements for the beta and don't have anything to do with that. And then a lot of them are front-end things. A lot of them are... It's not a straightforward answer is my answer to that.
Okay.
And some of them revolve around packaging and distribution of the application and other things.
Okay. Yeah, I think those front-end changes for the reporting the issues will definitely help. How long do you think all that... I know you just were presented with it, but how long do you think those front-end changes will take to implement?
Anthony?
Good question.
Assuming I help you and I'm about as 1/4 as productive as you are.
I think it's tough to estimate timeline. I would hope I would say it'd be fair to say next week at the latest for the bug tracking.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely scope it out first before committing. So we gotta see what's involved.
Yeah, estimating software timelines is, let's call it impossible. A one-line change might take 2 days to do. That's what happened with one of the things I was doing just yesterday. And sometimes what seems like something that's going to be really big is just built into some framework that you're already using, and you just do it and it's done.
Okay. The reason why I'm asking because I think we were saying testnet would be over 2nd of October. So for like these changes seem like it's going to make a big difference of what bugs are reported and how many. So I know we have a little bit of time, but just thinking ahead of maybe extending the testnet so people can keep going.
Yeah, Justin, you cool with that?
Yep. Yeah,
let's call
definitely.
It middle of October, tentatively, instead of beginning
reasonable.
of October.
Yeah.
That would give people...
when Dan gets back, we've still got to get out the last few kits that are waiting to go out the door. So
I say we do last testnet kit plus 2.5 weeks. My proposal.
Well, when could we shut down sales? Otherwise, we're just going to keep it open until we sell out.
Yeah, I think we're looking to do that probably the coming week when Dan's back. But I don't know the numbers offhand, but he's got like a handful that have piled up in the interim. So we should be getting the rest out by next week at some point, and that should wrap it up.
I have a question. Hopefully, this isn't a bad time to ask it, but let's pretend we advance further and we have fixed the vast majority of bugs. What is the next steps that you plan on implementing or having the DAO help out?
So next steps are the beta roadmap. We're already working on it internally, trying to come up with specs for enhanced transfer workflow. We are working on changing the this canonical remote implementation from being this HTTP thing I cobbled together over a couple of days to a fully fledged libp2p peer-to-peer connection and transaction. We're adding a couple more things, probably a refactor of the card code, and likely a full UI overhaul. Maybe not, probably not, maybe later. So it's going to be a lot of specking out what's happening in the beta, and then getting a roadmap for that, and planning those things out.
And just to get your thoughts, I'm not asking this as a hard answer or question, but when do you think that would start?
The process has already started. We'll probably bring our findings and or plans to the DAO shortly after the conclusion of the testnet. Let's call it testnet plus 2 weeks.
And then do you have any idea of when you would plan for the beta to be out?
The beta is going to take a while. Think the difference between the alpha and the testnet, and then multiply that by some integer, and then that's the difference between the testnet and the beta.
And I don't want to distract from what we're talking here, but I'm going to shift to another point. And this is more for the DAO, I guess. One big note that I think Rooster and I going through the test kit and really seeing it as a individual that doesn't know Phonon, I personally was really surprised that we didn't have something like a business card in there that said, thank you for buying the test kit. Here's a link to our website. Here's a link to our Discord. Here's what we're looking for. There was no direction in the kit. And so as an idiot user, I had to actually go to Google and Google Phonon and then try and figure out where to go to find the guides, try to figure out how to download the client, that kind of stuff. Just a point to the DAO, I'd really like for the beta for us to be far more prepared for that. And I think another really good thing that would be helpful is if we get the beta testnet in the hands of a lot of core team members before we ship it, so that we have kind of a quality assurance of this is what is going to be in first timers' hands. Is it ready?
We thought about that when we were packing the boxes up. Like, holy crap, we should have put like you said, some kind of a quick start card or something. But we opted for handwritten love letters penned by Brewster, Dan, and myself instead.
Yeah, and just to be clear, I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. This is more like a how can we go forward from here? And I really think that would be very helpful, because in doing our testing, there were several times that Rooster and I agreed if we were not a core team member and couldn't just message somebody else that we already knew had the answer, or we didn't know it ourselves, we would have to go in the Discord and take 30 minutes of someone's time, you know? And I really would like for us to try and avoid that in advance. That could be written guides, that could be clear communication, that could be videos, but I think that conversation needs to be had, and we need to really have an approval process for pre-ship, you know?
Well, he's gone. You there, buddy?
Yeah, I would say you're not going to have any disagreement with any of that. Super, so.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to work on the user experience of receiving the package, opening it, and getting started. We'll
That's
focus
why
on that.
Apple kills it, man.
Yeah,
I
certainly.
think in subsequent versions, anyways, too. So we're not going to be selling the card readers again or doing fulfillment ourselves. So we'll have the beta card packs available with like instructions, maybe even just like a sheet with a QR code to get signed up and bring you to the right spot right away. But I think also once we get to the beta, Nate, the plan is like people have already bought these testnet development kits. They'll be able to flash cards for the next round, right? Possibly. Or is that up in the air because of certificate issues?
I mean, if people aren't going to use them legit, they can flashcards using the dev keys. Those are just out there and available for anyone's use. Though for official ordained cards that will be able to transact with other official ordained cards in the future, they'll have to be flashed by us. So
Yeah, I mean,
if we
just
want the
beta
beta
only.
to be compatible with future versions 1.0, then we won't be able to allow people to flash their own. However, if the beta is just kind of an ongoing thing, and we expect that we'll cut a new set of keys and have all the official keys be the same when 1.0 hits, then yeah, we can have people flash their own. That's not a problem.
So for the notes, should I put that we're planning to allow people to flash their own cards?
You can already flash your own cards.
Okay.
I think as the development continues towards the beta, we'll probably want to get more some of the people that were involved in the testnet to flash dev cards and play with those as we update the card code, just so that it's not just us testing and with our blinders on trying to figure out exactly what problem we're working on at that very moment. That'll be very helpful in kind of post testnet testing by users.
One other thing I wanted to bring up. What was I going to say? Sorry, come back to me. I lost my train of thought. Taking notes.
Fair enough.
Okay. So the next item on the list is the shipping update. Justin, do you know how many we've sold so far? I know you said that we're waiting for Dan to come back to ship out the rest, but
Not sure offhand. It's something sub 50 now. I don't know, maybe like 40-ish. And the last of those, if we don't sell them out next week, and I think we are going to at this pace, I don't know what you guys are doing or where you're having conversations, but we see bursts of these orders coming in still. Whatever's there next week will go out to developers in the ecosystem. So I think we can put a neat cap on it in a couple of weeks.
so you said there's sub 50 left right now.
Yeah, I don't. It would take me a few minutes to pull everything up, but I want to say, like, just off the top of my head, it's like 30 to 40 boxes left.
Okay.
I don't know though, because we've had a bunch kind of pile up in Dan's absence over the past week. We're wondering whether we should have turned it off or posted some note. This is actually a good reminder for our customer service to go back and give those people a heads up that they shouldn't anticipate their packages till after this coming week.
I remember what I was going to bring up. Is there a reason why we sent out 2 cards and 2 card readers rather than potentially having a half or 2/3 price single card unit and be able to expand to more testers?
It was really at the beginning, I think, just so that one person could be able to experiment with everything directly on their own without needing to interact with others. And we just really wanted to keep it simple. Like, I think moving forward, we really, I know I've said it way too many times, but we don't want to actually be like fulfilling and doing all this stuff. We just want to get people the cards. So in the future, we'll be more flexible, but at least even if it was overkill for some applications, it gave everyone everything needed to get started, and they'll be covered for it if they participate. So
Yeah, at the time we planned it, Dan was 50% of the development team and 100% of the Phonon Grid Plus management team. And he had a lot on his plate already, and we didn't want to have him screw with multiple SKUs and deal with all that stuff.
yeah, so that's the answer in a nutshell. It's just for simplicity's sake because of the manual way we handle this.
So for the going back for the shipping update, so it sounds like we're probably going to cut off sales in the next week or so. Once we guys get the final number, I would just remind when you do that, or if we're like, hey, we're going to cut it off tomorrow, just give us a heads up so Rush can update the website and we can send it out on the socials that hey, you got one more day left or something like that to order.
How about September 21st? A week from next Wednesday. Deadline to purchase. And then if we extend it, testnet for 3 more weeks, testnet is officially complete on October 12th.
Yeah, let's plan for that.
Any objections?
I say we publicly say that, but then we extend everything by a few days, just in case some last people get on.
Yeah, publicly speaking, last day to order is October 21st. Publicly speaking, testnet will shut down, so you have to finish your tasks by October, what did I say, 19th or 12th?
Yeah, and then we
that's
can
probably fine.
then we can actually stop
Yeah.
sending them 2 days after the send date, and then we actually run the testnet rewards 2 days after the last date, just so people, get a chance.
I like that because that may incentivize people that have testnet kits and are just sitting on them to say, hey, you got to start working on them. So,
Do you have any numbers on how many of the cards sent out have actually been used?
that's the next question.
And just ballpark's fine. You don't have to give me okay.
I can give you the exact number. Give me 12 seconds to grab my computer, another 14 seconds to log into the server, another 4 seconds to run the command to check it.
Sweet.
Yeah, that was the next
Wow.
question, to see how many people have actually completed all the tasks or have started task.
Real quick question while Nate's doing that. Actually, I'll ask it while you're listening, Nate. Just to follow up on getting I had a bug now button. Do you have any kind of timeline on how long that would take? Is that like a day thing? Is that a few days thing? Next week?
Anthony was scope it out first before to it, but he thinks it could be done.
I think
That's like offhand.
Yeah, I think off the top of my head, the way I'm thinking about this is, I feel like it's doable by next week without any unknowns that I'm unaware of at this moment. But I think by next week we could have that.
49.
49 have been used?
Yes.
And just to be clear, does that include 2 cards as 1 card?
49 addresses have been used to capture logs. And most of the addresses are assigned to their 2-card testnet. Though I assume that there's someone out there who did the dastardly deed of buying 2 testnet kits and registering all 4 cards with 1 address, and I'm sure there's someone out there who registered each card under a different address. So,
which would allow so you you could duplicate your kit for the rewards. Okay.
I could go and filter that out, but I think it'll be okay.
And I know you talked about earlier about creating a UI where they could see how many tasks you've done and how many you've got left to do. Do you have any numbers on how many people have completed all the tasks at this point?
I haven't finished the. That was on my list, but kind of far down on it. To write the queries for the last 2 tasks. So once I'm done with that, I'll be able to give you that information.
Cool.
Should you be able to integrate a list like that list into the UI so that people could see how much they've done as they're going? I mean, save that for beta, but like that would seem like a great way to incentivize people to give a shit.
I think that's what you mentioned earlier. He's going to create
It's going to be a separate UI. I'm not going to integrate it with the current UI because it'll clutter it and make it weird. And that's really only for the testnet. And the testnet's going to be over in a couple months, and then going through later and pulling all that code out of the the UI is going to be a hassle.
Got it.
Just a question. You can confirm this for me. Will we be able to use the alpha testnet cards for beta testnet?
Depends.
I was going to ask how many of these changes of the UI that we're trying to push for the alpha test so that
Actually,
the users have it better, how many of those can carry over to beta?
now that I think of it, most of the stuff isn't going to work on beta. Beta is going to be new cards, new things. The added being able to make transfers backwards compatible with the new transfer flow is going to be more work than it's worth just to appease, a couple hundred people. So sadly, the alpha and testnet cards will be incompatible with the beta. Just given the physical limitations on the card, having two different flows for the code for doing that, for doing transfers, as well as maintaining two setups for the front end to orchestrate those transfers, would be a big hassle with the new transfer flow.
Was that interversion compatibility even a design goal initially? Or?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
I mean, we'll cut it at version 1 when we do probably when we do full release, and then there's probably going to be additional versions after that, and that's going to have interversion compatibility. But for between alpha, testnet, and beta, no.
One quick question for the alpha testnet as well. Do any is this exclusive to testnets like Linktr.ee and Gorley and stuff, or if I wanted to send 0.1 Matic, would that be possible? I don't know if
You
that's
can
out of the
send Bitcoin,
scope.
you can send ETH, you can send Matic, you can send whatever you want.
Cool. We were wanting to do that for some extra testing just to make sure it did work. So
Yeah.
didn't just
Yeah,
lose
that'll
the
work.
asset, never get it back, kind of a deal. Yeah.
Hey, super! On the website and in Discord, there's a list of user. I don't know. A user found a list of assets that you can currently use. There's probably more, but there's about 8.
Yeah, I mean, you can. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
If you use the web UI is set up specifically to use specific assets, but if you use the REPL, you can run that set descriptor and then put in whatever you want. You're gonna have to be able to derive an address from a public key for whatever chain you're looking for, but as long as it it'll just work as long as it has the same uses the same what's it called, algorithm as Ethereum. You'll be fine. Not algorithm, but the same like public-private key
Virtual machine?
setup.
Signing curve.
Signing curve. That was the word I was looking for. As long as it uses the same, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can put pretty much anything on there.
Okay. The next thing out here is any idea to increase testnet participation. I think setting a date will definitely help with that, and if we start communicating that in the Discord and on the socials to say, hey, we have a limited amount of time, and maybe we can get Hunt to make some graphics around it to get in and start testing. I don't think there's a way for Group Plus to communicate with the people and say, hey, we've shipped it out to you. You've got until this time to complete it. I don't think that's possible. So,
I mean, we should definitely be communicating end dates to make sure people take advantage of it.
right. I was just thinking from the information that they used when they bought the test kit. I think there's I don't think you guys can communicate it out again. Or maybe.
Right, like to individually target people, I don't. Well, their information gets deleted. I don't think all of them have been deleted yet, but I would have to check because there's like a lag with Shopify, and that we process deletion requests through them, and then just to prevent credit card chargebacks and stuff, depending on jurisdiction, that could be 4 or 6 weeks or so.
I was just thinking
Um,
something even as like an email. Say, hey, testnet ends this. Go to the Discord if
uh,
you need information.
like in a general, if we do like a general email blast,
Right.
like I get to the whole list, we could do that. It would be a general Grid Plus one because it would be going out to a lot more people than the testnet participants if we did it that way. What I was saying is that we don't retain customer info, so like there are people who've ordered test nets, we don't even have their email address or anything any longer.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, it's by design for privacy preservation. Maybe not great for promotions, but we all had our info leaked by Ledger, so
Right.
this was important to us.
Does anybody have any
But
other
yeah, I mean,
ideas on that?
I was talking to Super. This is Rush. He kind of straightened me out, but if we can get ahead of it, maybe for beta, we can utilize D-Work to try to at least promote it. I know there might be extra work as far as tracking tasks, but putting an open bounty out for joining testnet is another channel at least.
That's gonna look real scammy on. Hey, just buy this thing and we'll send you more stuff if you do our stuff. I promise, but you have to pay it to start.
That is a problem. That's just trying to think of a way around that. And I thought, what if we offset the cost of the kit or one reader and one card and reduce their rewards by the same amount?
It's gonna look real scammy. I don't like that.
And just to be clear for anyone listening on that point, D-Work requires manual approval. There's no way to auto approve / verify outside of a person doing it. So that's how it would look.
So it probably won't work. What were you talking about with the contest?
So you can have users submit proof and then approve it, but it would require an approval. It's not going to be something where Nate would have a verified list with wallet addresses and just send it out. It would have to be manually approved.
Okay.
But it would work. I just don't know it's the best use case.
Just an idea of a new channel to promote. I mean,
now I do think maybe if we had a bounty for accurately reproducing a certain bug that ended in a solution, that might make more sense if we get really difficult bugs.
How about we put the 2 bonuses out there? That would attract people to come in.
Yeah, you could totally do that. The $10,000 double spend.
Yeah, so it's 2 open bounties, and people would have to then come through our channels to buy the kit, go through the rewards, and then try to work on the larger ones.
Yeah, you could totally do that. The only feedback I would give is you would need to be very specific on what the definition for the bounty is, because you don't want anyone to get hurt feelings by doing something similar but not actually what the task was. But yes.
Well, I think in the descriptions we have, it says ultimately up to the determination of the devs who review your logs. So it's always a back door, but I hear what you're saying for sure.
I mean, I think these are all good things for the future, but I mean, realistically, with what we have on hand stashed away at Dan's house and a handful of orders coming in daily still, these are going to be gone by like mid next week anyways, especially if we announce that the availability is ending. Honestly, the reason we all thought they were going to sell out immediately was because the token incentives were going to outweigh the upfront cost so much. And we didn't really lean on that. They touched on it with optics. Like, we're all proud of what we're building this. And I think if any group, like we hesitant to try and look like we're doing this shit for its own sake, which makes sense. So I think that the reason that we didn't just sell out of them immediately is that we weren't emphasizing like upfront, like, oh yeah, you will get more money back just by putting in some time and helping us out. So the reasons why we landed there make sense to me. And I actually kind of appreciate that aspect of the community, but maybe we'll find a happy medium there. In the future, though, I mean, for this round, I think we're going to be clear next week. So.
It's great news. I mean,
Yeah.
And lessons for beta. When we launch that, we can think back and.
I feel like you guys are. Every time I see like a cluster of orders come in, I feel like someone's having a conversation on Discord and doing a really good job of capturing someone's attention, because you can just kind of see the effort getting, translating to like these little batches like this, and at this pace, looking pretty good. I know we were all hoping for like day one, the equivalent of like selling out in 2 blocks, but
Yeah, it's crazy. People aren't buying it when we're literally paying them to do so.
well, we never emphasized that. So
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this is going. I honestly think too, the mellower pace. These guys have been grinding pretty consistently. I'm glad Dan's finally taken some time off for the first time in forever. So if this was on one hand for promoting the project, it would have been good to have like a little more. I don't know how to put it. Just like a little more excitement and momentum around it. But on the other hand, everyone is still out straight, taking all this feedback into account, making improvements, and everyone's been cranking along. So
Yeah.
pros and cons.
I think with how brittle a lot of the stuff has been, just due to the fact that we haven't been able to test it enough internally. I mean, it's probably pretty good that it's been fairly limited to the hardcore phone on people for the test net. Once we get to beta and it's more refined, it'll be useful to send as many people as possible on the crypto conference circuit and start pumping it a lot more. I think it's definitely been good for the test net.
Just wanted to lead in with a question to everyone else, just see if there's anyone waiting. Does anyone feel, after what we've talked about, that there's something you need that you're not getting? Okay.
Love.
Thank God. I was afraid someone was going to say more professionalism out of Nate.
that ship long ago sailed. We've adjusted our expectations accordingly.
Yeah, I'm hoping one day you hop in here and all we see is a live cam of your speedometer in your car going 120 down the interstate or something.
No one ask him about his car, please.
You mean my 2019 BMW M2 Competition in some metallic orange with the gold M2 CS wheels with the 3-liter straight 6 twin turbocharged engine pushing out 400 horsepower, 396 foot-pounds of torque?
No, the other one, the cool one.
Watch it.
Sorry.
Watch it, or I'll have the 19-inch. Jesus, the 19-inch Michelin Pilot Super Sport tires drive straight into I don't know, whatever is not legally actionable that you own.
Noted. All right.
So the last item on the list is the beta meeting. Dan asked that we set that up for September 21st to start going over that, and it sounds like Nate, you're working on a roadmap as well.
Yes.
So
working on specs. Dan does the roadmap stuff.
Gotcha. So that's scheduled in the Discord. So make sure everybody goes in there and clicks on it, so you know it's coming. And that's all I had. Anybody else have anything to go over?
That.
All right. Well, I'll stop recording here.